Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then welcome. My name is Crystal and I am currently 30 weeks with baby number 2, child number 3. And today I want to talk about our birth plan for this baby, which is actually the exact same birth plan that we had for our 2.5-year-old toddler Brixton, which is a scheduled 37-week C-section. So I know some people might have stopped the video right there when I said I was having a scheduled C-section. And for those who know me and my lifestyle, that is really shocking to a lot of people, that I would not be like having a home birth or a natural birth or something like that. And while those things were always my intention, life throws things at you. So just to kind of wind it back a little bit, not that anybody owes anybody else an explanation about what your birthing preferences are. Those are completely your business, your decision, and nobody can judge you for that. But just to explain a little bit of our story and how we got from wanting to do natural childbirth to scheduled C-section, I just want to bridge the gap for people. Back in 2019, I had a lot of fibroids prior to that as well, and I'll probably talk more about our path to baby in the first place, but had a lot of fibroids and they were preventing us from conceiving. Especially there was one grapefruit-sized one right in the middle of my uterus. So did opt to have the surgery to remove those. I had a myomectomy. I actually have a very large, if you see any of my pregnancy updates, a very large cane hook type scar on the outside that you can see that shows the extensive nature of the surgery. But there were several fibroids in there, and a lot of them were on the wall of the uterus. And even before going in, the fertility specialist, my OB/GYN, and my surgeon were all very clear, very adamant, and wanting to make sure I completely and totally understood that pregnancy prior to the surgery would not be viable because of the fibroid situation. Any future pregnancy would need to be a scheduled C-section, likely around the 37th week. It's basically as soon as the baby was full term. And the reason for that, my uterus is basically perforated. So based on where all of the incisions were, all of the cutting they had to do to remove the fibroids in the first place, the scars, the tissue, all of that, it is a great risk for my uterus to, 1, expand too large, and 2, contract and go through the trauma that is labor and delivery. There would be a risk to the baby, and there would also be a risk to my life, because it's possible and more likely than in a lot of other women's situations that I would have some type of uterine rupture and could basically hemorrhage and die. So yes, we are having a scheduled C-section. It is going to be at 37 weeks. When we were planning for Brixton, and also this time because these babies, they grow and they stretch me pretty quickly. They were measuring a little head and they were getting nervous and wanting to do 36 weeks just to, again, keep me from getting too large. But at 36 weeks, you have to do the steroid injection thing and all that because the baby's lungs aren't fully developed or something. I don't know. I didn't want to do that. So we were able to, prayed about it. And they agreed to 37 weeks last time. And this time, baby girl is only measuring a few days ahead of my schedule. So they're good to do midweek of the 37th week, which is what we're doing. So we are officially scheduled for our C-section, and it will be at the end of August. So we requested a Thursday, which means I will go home on over the weekend, most likely. I'm not super worried about it. It's a girl, so we don't have to worry about a circumcision. Really just want the time to be able to heal, be monitored, and then skedaddle on home. So I'm okay with going home on the weekend. I'm not really concerned about that. Plus, didn't want to have complete and total disruption for Brixton, a whole week. When we had him, we went on a Monday. We didn't come home until like Thursday evening. That's a little tricky. We do have some help that we knew we could rely on over the weekend. So while like on discharge day, when we don't know how many hours it's going to be before they say you're going home today and okay, we're releasing you, we do have somebody that can be with Brixton. So it worked out better for us to be able to do it toward the end of the week. Whereas with Brixton, I was like, I don't think I'd rather do it at the beginning. As far as birthing preferences, because you can still have your birthing preferences even if you're having a C-section, like post-operative birthing preferences, because the C-section is pretty standard. I believe they call it like gentle C-section is what kind of how they refer to it. So they're not thinking of it necessarily as, okay, you're going in this room, we're knocking you out and you're gonna have this surgery and we're gonna take your baby away for hours and all of that. Like, it is a birth. It is still a birth. It is, instead of a vaginal birth, they are considering it a C-section birth, and it is still treated as such. So all of the things that you would associate with birthing your baby outside of the actual delivery, you can still have those things even with a C-section. So I would say if you are looking at hospitals, if you're trying to decide, looking at practices and what hospitals they deliver at, all of that, gentle C-section, I believe is the term for it. So if you see that, that's a good sign. You can definitely ask for their policies and procedures and have all your questions answered. I would definitely do that. I would recommend that. But if you see that gentle C-section, that is a good sign. They do talk to you about, life-saving measures and things like that, which I don't mind sharing that we are not planning to have any more children after this one. So I've definitely said, save my life. Don't take the extra time to try to figure that out. You save me, you save my baby. The uterus can go if it has to. So they know that if it comes down to like life-saving measures, you don't need to waste those minutes getting the consent and all of that. Do what you need to do. But as far as all of the other things that you might think of that you want after your baby is born, we are blessed to be delivering. We are delivering at the same hospital that we deliver at Brixton. So we are familiar with their procedures, their general already, like their procedures that are in place, and we'll have the pamphlet will come and all of that, and we'll, make sure they know what we want, and we'll still talk about it and all of that. However, the majority of the things that we would ask for is part of their policy. Like, it's just part of their natural flow. So without having it in front of me, because I don't know when it's going to come and I had a few minutes to record today, the things that I remember specifically not having to worry about, like delayed cord clamping, they already are on board with doing that. Skin to skin, immediately they do that. They don't take the baby away, or don't assume that they're going to take the baby away to do all of the tests and all that, and they do it all right there in the room, and they do it as quickly as possible so that they can do that skin to skin right away. They support, start setting up for feeding as soon as the baby is, starting to do that crawl. Like, they want the baby to be on you so that the baby can start feeding immediately as soon as they are ready. So I was grateful for all of that. And there were probably other things that were some of the more, I don't know, I would say maybe minor things that I just can't remember. But I know I do recall thinking like everything is on there. And if it comes before this video goes up, which it probably won't, but I'll put those things in. And you can, if there's something specific that you're wondering about, you can definitely ask me in the comments. I don't have no problem sharing that with you. But a couple of things that we did ask for that were probably a little unconventional, that they were just like, oh yeah, no problem. We didn't want him bathed right away. Like, we wanted him to keep that vernix on. His skin is really good for the skin and moisturizing. So we did delayed bathing. They didn't have any issue with that. We did do a bath in the hospital with Brixton, like probably shortly before we left, maybe the night before we left. Honestly, probably not gonna have that done for this one. We're probably just going to give her first bath at home. We're not new parents anymore. I think we're feeling a little more comfortable and confident, and we'll probably just give the first bath here in a nice hot kitchen so that we don't have to worry about it being too cold and all that. Of course, we did skin to skin right after to try to regulate his temperature back, but I honestly probably, we'll see. We didn't confirm that part yet, like between us, if we're going to do it in the hospital or home, but I'm thinking we're probably just going to wait until we get home. The other thing that's not applicable this time, but if you have, concerns about asking for what you want or anything like that, one of the things we did for Brixton was we did have him circumcised, but we requested that be delayed until like day 3 that we were in the hospital, because we wanted to be really more established in breastfeeding before introducing that trauma, because sometimes after that C-section or after that circumcision, it's kind of traumatic. So some babies have trouble or don't want to feed or struggle with feeding after that. So we wanted to do more. We wanted basically more practice with breastfeeding, more experience with breastfeeding, even though it was just, a number of feeds before introducing that trauma. And they had no issue with doing that. So I know it's not super complicated or glamorous or anything like that, but that is pretty much our plan for baby girl. Like I said, we are expecting, all things to go well, and we're expecting it to go just as smoothly as it went for Brixton's birth. The C-section is actually less of a recovery than the myomectomy was, so that part I'm grateful for. The things I'm most nervous about aren't really actually at the hospital and like during that first few days. I am more concerned about things like having a newborn and a toddler, recovering from a C-section with a husband with no parental leave. So those are the kind of things that I am more worried about, and spending more time figuring out logistics and lining up friends and figuring out who's going to help, who can help us do what, getting things like meal trains and all that kind of stuff set up, meal prepping, all of those things. Like, those are the things that are kind of more on my mind, because again, we're delivering where we deliver before. We know what they do. The staff is amazing. We felt very well taken care of. We felt very well heard. So if you've had any concerns, if you're watching this because you're trying to figure out, like, what should I be asking for? What might I want? Like, I have no idea what my birthing preferences are. Definitely, if you have any questions about those kind of things, or if you think it's like crazy to ask, put them in the comments. I'm probably going to tell you to ask anyway, because you should. You're the mom giving birth, bringing life into this world. I think you should at least be able to ask for what you want. And if you are curious about like what other specific things are in the policy that you might not have thought about, or other things that you might want to consider, you can definitely ask those as well. I will try to find some kind of resource or guide that I can find out there that is already lays out some of the things that we were thinking about and looking at when we were, making all this plan. I was so anxious before, when I was pregnant with my first, because it was like, okay, I want this and this and this and this and this, and I don't want to have to fight with the hospital staff or have to change hospitals, have to change practices, and da-da-da-da-da. And then when I got the pamphlet, I was like, oh, this is great. They have everything here. Just like this couple things that I need to ask for. And like I said, they were completely understanding. So that is very important. Like, ask the questions. If you don't know, just ask. If you're not satisfied and you're not comfortable, feel free to look elsewhere. Like, there's a lot of great doctors out there. It's important that you feel comfortable, because this is a very big change. You're already going to have a lot going on in your body. And I just want you to be comfortable, mama. So if you have any concerns about that, or any other questions, or, looking for a hospital or anything like that, and you need somebody to talk to, or you need to ask, just feel free to comment below, because I'm happy to answer anything I can. And if I can't, I will let you know that as well. But another mama that's seeing the comments might have an answer for you. So please comment below, and I'm just gonna wrap this one up. Very excited. I can say that we will be having this baby in less than 7 weeks. So it is getting real up in here. And I do plan on like all those things that we're preparing for, that I'm like worried about, like the nesting, the prepping for recovery. I will be sharing those things on my channel as I am able to get them done. So as I'm doing those things that I plan to do anyway, I will record those and put those up so you can see how I am preparing for a newborn with a toddler and a C-section recovery. I don't know if it will work 100%, but I'll definitely come back after recovery and let you know what worked and what didn't as well. So if you're interested in all of that, if you are interested in gentle parenting, respectful parenting, Montessori, faith-based parenting, all of those things, then please consider subscribing and hanging out with me a little bit more so that we can chat and kind of walk through this mom journey together. If you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up so other mamas can find it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.